Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon's Week 11, that's too many fingers, 11 battle of the APA Evolution League Season 1. We are taking on Big Daddy Dave and the Chicago Conkeldurrs. If you did not see the team builder, go check that out. Link is in the description below, as is the link to my opponent's channel, so make sure you check him out as well. Love the way he's been playing this season. I really haven't watched too much of his content, I will be honest, but I will have a link to his description and you guys should go check him out because he's a really, really good battler. He is currently 6-3, sitting right behind us, basically. So, not 6-3, I believe it's 7-3, if I'm not mistaken. Although the exact record will obviously be put up top. But, yeah, so he's definitely someone we could see again in playoffs. That doesn't mean that I'm going to let my foot off the gas right now. I am certainly going to bring some sets that are going to be interesting, but certainly have some other tricks up my sleeve if need be. Now, we are going to look at this right off the bat, and we do see the Doug Trio, which I obviously knew was coming. No Skarm. No Shift Tree, no Delphox. That means Gardevoir is here to play. Choice Specs, Psyshock, look at his team. Just look at his team. The only thing that doesn't get 2 KO'd by that, is a Mimikyu with Focus Sash. Otherwise, every single thing on his team gets straight 2 KO'd, and Mimikyu only doesn't because of all the gimmicks that it would have with a Disguise and a Focus Sash. And Gardevoir is going to be just a massive threat. So getting that thing in safely is paramount, and then being able to just nuke his entire team is going to be incredibly valuable. Otherwise, his Mega Gallade is obviously a threat. Doug Trio is the thing I have to worry about the most, since Nidoqueen really can never come in the field until Doug Trio is dead, but I do want my rocks up. So it's like a weird interaction. Doug Trio literally invalidates Nidoqueen, just takes it out immediately with anything, and because I couldn't fit Sucker Punch on it this week. I really wanted to, but I could not put it on the, I just didn't have a move slot for it. And then Zapdos, not Zapdos, yeah, Zapdos is weak to rocks, so hopefully we are going to be able to take care of that. Should never eat right before you record because there's something in my teeth right now, but here we are. So, anyway, I'm going to click play and get this battle started. Right off the bat, we are going to see he is going to lead off straight with his Doug Trio, maybe predicting my Nidoqueen lead, maybe predicting my, I don't know, Coco, Nidoqueen, whatever. He's going to straight off lead with his Doug Trio. I thought he might, but my best lead, no matter what, was my Incineroar, which does have a, I mean, it's this Choice Scarf knockoff. It intimidates and therefore can take an Earthquake from the Doug Trio. And I have U-Turn as well, which is totally free. The only thing with U-Turn is that I'm a little bit worried about static from Zapdos, but it is what it is. There's not much I can do about that, so we're just going to be able to have my Incineroar here, which is the lead I wanted. He is going to switch out immediately into his Toxapex, and I am just going to go straight for that U-Turn that I said I might do, and switch out into my Gardevoir. Like I said, getting Gardevoir in safely, which I have the Baton Pass on Scizor, U-Turn on Incineroar, and U-Turn on the Coco, so I have options to get into Gardevoir safely. This Pex, if it's specially defensive, which is what I'm calculating, dies to Psyshock. Just dies. That's it. Done. If it's physically defensive, it has a chance to die. So, and it's a good chance. So, Gardevoir is now a really, really big threat to his team, as we are going to see him go immediately out into Blissey, which is then going to take a Psyshock, and you're going to see this 58%. He is going to get Leftovers Recovery, which still puts him in range of Psyshock, so I'm going to go for it again. He is going to show the Protect here, which is fine, because he's still in range of Psyshock even after the Protect, so I'm just going to click it again. I have literally nothing to lose. His entire team is just invalidated by it, and he just goes out into the Zapdos, which I crit and kill. Crit mattered in terms of killing the Zapdos a turn early. I don't know if it mattered in terms of the battle because, well, you'll see later on that a lot goes down after that crit, that it's hard to know. You know, way too much theory mining to know if that crit actually mattered. But I just invalidate the Zapdos. That thing's just gone. So, bye-bye Zapdos. One shot from a Psyshock. Gardevoir proving how strong it is. And he is going to go into the Mimikyu now, which obviously still has its Disguise, so I can't stay with my Gardevoir. So he is going to now be able to click whatever he wants. I was wondering if he'd go Swords Dance, predicting a switch. I was wondering if he'd go just straight for the Shadow Claw, whatever. But he actually goes for the Play Rough. I'm not 100% sure what that prediction was, since my best switch in there could have been Nidoqueen. Or, like, then I would take the Play Rough, it would take the Shadow Claw pretty well if it's defensive. So, and then the Incineroar is the other one. So Play Rough does catch the Incineroar, at least neutrally, but you see it only does about 20%. And this is an offensive Incineroar, it's not a bulky one. So that's about the most he could possibly have done with that. I again have a very free attack here with my Choice Scarf, so I am actually just going to go straight for the knock off whatever item this Mimikyu is holding, as he is going to be able to switch out into the Blissey at this point. Oh, I go for a U-turn this time. Later, I'll go for a knockoff. Spoilers. It's hard to post-con these, but I get another safe switch in my Gardevoir, which I actually which shows Serene Grace, not Natural Cure, which I find pretty interesting. I was curious about that play. He's going to Protect to try to get a little bit of HP back at this point. I'm still just going to click Psyshock. He has no switch-in, like, at all, like, zero. Just nothing. So he's going to actually have to let his Blissey die here, as I've locked myself into the Psyshock. But again, he now has a safe switch in the Mimikyu, which forces me to keep going out. I'm actually going to go into the Incineroar once again here, as he is going to go for the Substitute, predicting the switch this time. But the Intimidate goes off first, so we are going to be able to do that. And we show that we are Scarfed here and are able to click Knockoff, which does break his Substitute. He goes for the Swords Dance, which gets him to +1. Doesn't super threaten me. I'm going to knock off, break the Disguise, and kind of scout out what set this Mimikyu is. It actually ends up being a Z Mimikyu, and it goes for the Let's Snuggle Forever. At +1, yeah, that's going to kill Incineroar, but the Scarf allows me to break the Disguise and the Substitute, which is fantastic, and gets me into my Scizor now, which has the Bullet Punch, which can then beat the Mimikyu 1v1, and if he does go for a Shadow Claw right now, it's not going to KO, even at +1, so my Scizor is a perfectly safe mon. I could go for a Swords Dance here, but he does still have the Toxapex, which makes my Scizor very, very difficult to do anything with, so I don't figure there's any need to predict. Might as well just go for it, see what he's going to let me do. So I'm going to go for the Bullet Punch. I actually crit the Toxapex and do nothing, plus Regenerator, plus Black Sludge. It means that that crit literally doesn't matter, but it does give me a switch into Rotom at this point, as he is going to go for the Toxic, predicting the switch out. I'm not sure if he was predicting Gardevoir or Rotom there, but it covered both options, and this is actually a chance for him to go into the Dugtrio, which I am so sad. I was so close. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. So close to predicting the Dugtrio right there and going for a Shadow Ball. You guys don't even know. I was going back and forth in my head, out loud actually. I was just like, Dugtrio makes sense, but I've never shown Z Rotom in the entire league. But, you know, I'm not in a position where I need to predict right now, and I don't need my Electrium Z for any specific thing either. So I'm just going to go for the Gigavolt Havoc. I am levitating, so he can't hit me with the can't hit me with an Earthquake. I actually was going to go Shadow Ball. I was also going to go Will-O-Wisp. I was really tempted to go Will-O-Wisp there. So at this point, he can't OHKO me with anything except Sucker Punch, which I'm not going to let him do. So I'm going to click Will-O-Wisp here on this following turn. I'm very upset with myself for blowing the Z move on the Dugtrio switch in. He actually makes a good play and goes back into the Pex as I go for the Will-O-Wisp. And this time I'm going to make the middle ground play. I look at his entire remaining team and I say Shadow Ball's free. He could go back into Dugtrio to try to rack up toxic damage. I'm just going to click Shadow Ball on whatever he switches in. He actually goes into his Gallade prior to Mega Evolving. That does 75% and gets a special defense drop. And I was like, wow, thanks. That was a huge threat. That it was like something I was going to have to figure out how to deal with, and I guess handled. Not totally handled, but Rotom doing that kind of damage to this is absolutely incredible. I'm going to let him do what he wants. I don't want him setting up bulk ups or substitutes, so I'm just going to stay in his Shadow Ball again. I can't quite tell if he's in range to be able to set up a substitute without killing himself, but he's just going to go for the Ice Punch and take me out. Koko is always safe and always free. It reveals my Balloon, but that's fine since it shows that he still can't freely go for Earthquakes with his Dugtrio until that Balloon is popped. You could go for a Shadow Sneak here to pop the Balloon on me killing his Koko, but I figure, or on me killing his Gallade, but I figure it doesn't really matter too much. I do still have answers. Since my Gardevoir is at full health, it can take one Earthquake. My Scizor can also take one Earthquake from the Dugtrio, so I'm going to be able to handle that hopefully in the late game here, as I am just going to be able to go for the U-turn. He actually does not show Shadow Sneak, and we are going to keep our Balloon intact. And guess what I do when I have a safe switch in? I go immediately into Gardevoir. His only switch at this point is going out into his Dugtrio. And at this point I have a choice. I can go for the Psyshock, but I don't see a reason to necessarily go for the Psyshock here, since he could go out, like, it was, there's no reason I shouldn't have gone for the Psyshock here, but I ended up deciding to go for the Icy Wind, because it covered both options. And I talk about this in my team builder a little bit, but Gardevoir has Icy Wind for one reason, and it's for this Dugtrio matchup. I take one Earthquake guaranteed. That's not in question. I assume he's going to be Scarfed, and if he's choice Scarfed, then Icy Wind OHKOs anyway with specs. But if he is Focus Sash, Icy Wind allows me to outspeed on the following turn and take him out with an Icy Wind, take him out with another one, barring a Sucker Punch. So that was the play here. It also allowed other things like Scizor to then outspeed the following turn and Bullet Punch before he Sucker Punches, things like that. But we do see that the Icy Wind just straight takes him out. He reveals that he is probably choice Scarfed, and he is going to be able to go out into the Mimikyu at this point. Gardevoir, I don't need to preserve for any reason, but it does still handle the Toxapex, which I think is something that is still a threat to me. But since the Dugtrio is down. My Nidoqueen is now safe whenever I want it, but Scizor is my first play because it handles this Mimikyu, as I can just go immediately for a Swords Dance with my Scizor to try to threaten out his Toxapex a little bit. I'm going to go for 2 of them. He is actually going to show the Haze here, and that's really unfortunate, but I'm like, you know what, he can't do anything outside of Scald, and my play here is always Swords Dance, Baton Pass into the Koko, and then I win the game. So I'm going to Swords Dance. Hopefully he doesn't Haze. He goes for the Scald, and I'm like, that's cool. He gets the burn, so he's not tempted to go for Haze anymore, which actually works out in my favor a lot, because I am going to be able to click Baton Pass here and go right out into my Tapu Koko, which is going to be able to OHKO both of his remaining 2 Mons. If he doesn't get a Scald burn, he goes for the Scald and pops the balloon. No burn for that Scald. Yes, it's on the prior one, and we are going to be able to click Wild Charge 2 times here. Once on the Toxapex at +2. Doesn't matter if it's defensive, it is not living that in electric terrain. And then the Mimikyu is going to come in. Shadow Sneak does not take me out from this range at all. There's a 0% chance. As you see, it does about 24%. And we are going to be able to go for another Wild Charge and take out the Mimikyu and pick up a big 4-0 victory here in Week 11 as well. So Baton Pass, guys, is ridiculous. And the mon that I have it, Scizor, Hawlucha, Sawsbuck, they're really good mons to use Baton Pass with, because they can take a hit and they threaten themselves, and then they can pass it into something else that threatens in a different way. So Koko getting that Swords Dance right there was really big and very, very helpful for the end game. And we were able to pick up the win here. Move to 9-2 on the season, and pending Silver's game, potentially lock up the overall 1 seed. If that happens, just a heads up, I am going to be memeing next week, probably. My opponent is already eliminated, and if I've already locked up the 1 seed, I've never been in a situation to do it before, so I might as well do it here. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. Hopefully you guys enjoy next week's battle. It's whether it's a meme or not, and I will ask my opponent if he wants to. If he wants to take a series battle, I will do a series battle 100%, but if he wants to meme, I will certainly try that out. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I will see you guys back here next week, and we will see how Week 12 of the APA Evolution League goes. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everybody.